Right.
Mr. Ray Tolbert of the L.A. Lakers is with us on this evening, also a native of Indianapolis, Indiana. We're so glad to have him here to share his views and opinions on what is going on in the political arena. Mr. Tolbert, is America ready for 4 more years of Reaganomics?
Well, after this past 4 years, personally speaking, I wasn't too pleased with the way things are going. Speaking of Reaganomics, inflation, budget cuts on welfare and everything like that, I think it was a slap in the face, primarily particularly to black people, and I think that it's time for a change. And I was hoping that Jesse would get that vice president nominee, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So that doesn't mean that we as black people should not vote. I think it's more vital now than ever that we get out and vote, because we can make a difference, regardless if it's the new guy coming in or not. If it's not Jesse, you know, it has to be Dukakis. But still, we have to get out and vote as a black people, and as a whole. I think it's time for a change, because, like you said, Reaganomics has just been, excuse my friends, kicking us in the butt for quite some time. And I'm urging every young black person who is eligible to vote, because I think it's very vital for us.
Do you feel that the presidential campaign of Governor Dukakis will be strengthened or hurt by working closer with Reverend Jesse Jackson?
Well, I don't think that it can do any harm, because Jesse, I believe, is qualified. Jesse's been involved overseas. He's brought some people back, Goodman and people like that. He's done some volunteer work, and he's gotten out there in the political arena, and he's fought with the Lions, and he's come out on top. I think that Jesse would add some coals to the fire, and I think Dukakis knows that too, and he knows that Jesse is vital for his success and for the Democratic success as a whole. And if we can't hold each other up as far as having crutches for each other, then I think the Democratic Party will have to sustain 4 more years of Reaganomics. And I don't think, like I said, being black, being primary concern, I think, like I said, we all need to get out and do something about it, and that's voting. And we can make a difference.
That's correct. We need to get out there and vote. Recently, during the Democratic Convention, Jesse Jackson Jr. said, "Our generation is prepared to act." Do you feel that this statement is symbolic of the aggressiveness of our young people today, or is there another movement in the horizon?
Well, you know, Jesse Jackson Jr. is a very articulate young man, and I think he can see a change coming. I think the people who are aware, who are conscientious of the movement developing, are the ones who are making the change. I think we need more people like young Jesse's and people like ourselves to get out there and let them know that it is time for change, and we can make a change. And it takes more efforts from everybody, especially from an NBA point of view, a basketball standpoint. I think we can generate a lot of young people, and I think it's not, there's no pressure, but I think it's a responsibility that we have to be leading as role models for the young people. And I think if we more, say myself personally speaking, if we can get more people like myself out there to help and help make those young people aware of what's going on, I think it'll be a little easier for everybody.
You spoke of awareness. What do you feel like in the movement of the 60s? What should our young people be most aware of in that time?
Well, I think it's very important that the young people today realize that our history is very vital. If you don't know anything about our history, then you don't have any motivation, because, you know, I was there during the 60s movements and everything, and it was rough. And people sacrificed their lives in order for us to have things better. But believe it or not, things haven't gotten that much better. It's better to a point, but it can be much better. And I think that by them knowing our history, what we have come through, and how far we have gained from those times is very vital. Once they understand that, then they can follow through and carry over from the history of our black history.
What do you feel the status of the American dream is? And that status, if so, is it achievable for most Americans?
Well, if you persevere and have stick-to-itiveness, you can make it. I mean, there are opportunities for us. We just have to take advantage of it. A lot of us don't want to get out there and say, you know, get your feet wet. You just want to take the shower, but you got to get your feet wet. You know, you got to get out there and swim. And it's not easy. Being from a black standpoint, it's not easy, you know. But I believe with faith in God and just believe in yourself and working hard, having good work ethics, you can make it because the opportunity is there. We got to get off our butts and start doing something about it because the opportunity is there. The people from Irish people can come over here and Chinese people can come over here and the black people come over here too. We can do the same thing. We just put ourselves together as a whole and stop ripping each other off. We can do something.
Mr. Tolbert, what is your advice to our young people today, especially our young black men?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. I mean, if I had the opportunity, the time to say what I really need to say, we could be here all night. But I just want to say a few things. The most vital things is get an education, stay away from drugs, believe in God, stay with God, because God is the answer to all things. And I think it's very important that if you want to be with the girl, if you want to make love to a girl, make sure you love her. And if you do, if she happens to get pregnant, take care of the baby. Don't be like a lot of guys, get these girls pregnant and leave them hanging. You know, be responsible. If you're going to take on responsibilities, take the responsibility. If you're going to get involved in something you don't want to get into, don't do it. You know, just be smart, be conscientious of yourself. Don't have to get into peer pressures with your friends and everything. Be yourself and be truthful. And I think you'll make it.
Thanks, Mr. Tolbert. Appreciate you. Great.